Everyone wants to know how to get rich. Almost nobody wants to hear the actual answer. It's not a secret. It's not a hustle. And it's definitely not a stock tip whispered in a group chat. The real answer is almost insultingly simple, which is exactly why most people ignore it. Let's start with the one number that matters more than your salary. Your savings rate. Not how much you earn. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. Two people can make the exact same income and end up in completely different financial universes purely because of that gap. One saves 10%, the other saves 40%. 20 years later, one of them is still working because they have to. The other is working because they want to. Same income, same years, completely different outcome. That gap is the entire game. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. A doctor earning $400,000 a year can be functionally broke, leveraged into a house that's too big, 2 cars that are too new, and a lifestyle that expands exactly as fast as the paycheck does. Meanwhile, a teacher earning $60,000 a year who never once got a dramatic raise can retire a millionaire. The difference isn't talent, and it isn't income. It's a habit almost nobody names out loud: lifestyle creep. Every time your income goes up, your spending quietly rises to meet it, until the raise you worked so hard for never actually reaches your future. It just reaches your closet, your garage, or your restaurant app. The second truth is even less exciting. Real wealth is boring. It isn't a hot stock tip or a lucky break. It's compound growth, working in near total silence for decades. Here's the part that should actually bother you. Money invested in your 20s can be worth roughly 4 times more by retirement than the exact same amount invested in your 40s. Not because you did anything smarter, because time did the work instead of you. The single most expensive financial mistake most people make isn't a bad investment. It's waiting. Third, almost every wealthy person you've ever heard of, at some point, stopped trading hours for dollars and started owning something instead. A business, property, shares in a company, a piece of intellectual property that keeps selling long after they stopped working on it. Assets earn money while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're doing literally anything else. A job, by contrast, stops paying the exact moment you stop showing up. That's not a criticism of having a job. It's a description of its ceiling. Fourth, getting rich requires risk, but not the reckless kind. The kind of risk where what you could lose is small and what you could gain is large. Starting a side project with a few $100s instead of your life savings. Learning a skill on evenings and weekends that quietly opens a door nobody else in the room has access to. These are asymmetric bets, and most people walk right past them. Not because the bet is bad, but because they're afraid of a downside they've never actually bothered to calculate. And fifth, the trap almost nobody talks about: comparison. Watching everyone else's highlight reel and quietly mistaking their spending for their net worth. The person driving the nicest car in the parking lot at work is sometimes the person with the least money in the entire building, because the car is often the reason, not the result. Real wealth is rarely visible. That's not an accident. That's kind of the whole point. So, here's the brutal truth nobody puts in a headline. Getting rich isn't a secret, a hustle, or a lucky break. It's a savings rate you actually control, time you refuse to waste, assets you own instead of rent, risk you take on purpose, not by accident, and patience. More patience than almost anyone else around you is willing to have. None of it is exciting. Almost all of it works anyway.